Welcome everyone to Sister Sunday. Thank y'all, my live audience, my Facebook audience, and YouTube audience. Thank you all for tuning in to another Sister Sunday. We have Sister Sunday here at the Doc Bookshop once a month, every third Sunday from 2 to 5 p.m. Where we just talk about different topics, and it's a free community event. We have food, we fellowship, and we just talk about different things to uplift our women in the community. This is brought on by Sisterhood Foundation, the Doc Bookshop, and DFW Alliance. I will let Miss Danya talk more about the Doc Bookshop and the upcoming events that they have, and then we'll get into our topic on sister. I'm sorry, get into our topic about single parenting. Thank you.
Hi, I am Danya Craddock, and I am so happy to be on this panel. I am co-owner of the Doc Bookshop. Doc Bookshop is one of the largest African American owned bookstores in the Dallas Fort Worth area. We have books, ebooks, audiobooks, and we have Doc sideline items in the store. And you can get those items as well as online. You can visit us at the docbookshop.com and then check out all the events that we do online and in store. We have a great festival that's coming up, the Trinity River Book Festival. And we have Ricky Smiley coming in the 21st. So excited about all the yeah, we have that actually goes out publicly next week and formally.
So y'all heard it here first.
Exclusively,
yeah. Formally it goes out next week. So we're excited about that, as well as all the other authors that are coming into this area and visiting the Doc Bookshop. Dallas Fort Worth is going to be eventually. We're trying to make it a hub of a literary experience in the Midwest. Yeah. So we're excited about that.
So to thank you very much, Danya. To get into our conversation today, we have our lovely Miss Blair.
How y'all doing?
Miss Blair, you want to give a little shout out, introduce yourself to our live audience and our Facebook audience?
So for those who do not know me, I am Ingrid, but my stage name is Blair. That stands for Boss Lady Anointed Rap Entertainment. Blaring our voice, baby, I ain't playing. And I'm so excited. I'm a rapper, a singer, a poet, and I'm definitely looking forward to being here on this panel and having this special topic just to encourage and to lift somebody.
Thank you. I
You're
appreciate
welcome.
you. So I am the founder of the Sisterhood Foundation. We are a nonprofit organization that help African American women and teen girls with self-esteem building, communication skills, just preparing for life after high school and bridging the gap amongst African American women and the generations of girls to come. So today we're going to talk about single parenting, overall the issues with single parenting, the stigma behind single parenting, and then also the effects of how single parenting affects children from the moment they're born, growing up as an adult. And we can just have an open dialogue about pretty much your experience with single parenting, how it has affected you, in what ways, and then we'll just kind of share the floor and kind of bounce off each other's ideas with single parenting.
Okay.
So you wanna go?
Oh, well, I guess I can jump in there because the Doc Bookshop has been in the literary world, the literary business for 16 years, right? Mm-hmm. And I have done a lot of interviews. I've done a lot of programs, organizing community events, but I never really talked about my own experience when it comes to single parenting. I kind of have been very, I haven't let myself be vulnerable about my single parenting and being out in the open, and because I had some really deep feelings about it. I dislike it, but I dealt with it. I had my son, and I call myself a hardcore singer. I think there's levels to it. Mm-hmm. And my experience was his daddy was not a part of it at all. Mm-hmm. So, and he was not trying to be a part of it at all. So I had to really take on this whole experience by myself with my brothers. Of course, thank God I have my brothers, but they have been like a source of inspiration. And I had to really change about my girly ways because I know how I wanted to raise my son, right? Mm-hmm. So I took a lot of myself out of what I wanted to do because those formative years are so important for young boys. Mm-hmm. It's the reason why I'm not trying to hit on anybody raised to do. How many disclaimers do I have to do? My son was in blue. When they come out, we get blue boys, pink for girls, because we bifurcate between those genders. So don't everybody don't. I don't want to see all the emails, but that's just Tanya, And I had a boy, and it took a lot of taking a lot of the girly girl stuff out of that because I was a single parent and it had to, you know, you know, I didn't have makeup and stuff all over the place. And my son wasn't coming in the room playing in my makeup. We just didn't do those type of things. So, but for him, those were difficult. That was difficult when he realized, like, where's my daddy? Um, and then we would watch this TV show. It was, I can't remember the name of it. It was Eddie Murphy when he did that TV show with that daughter, and she was all daddy, and they were dealing with the animals and all this kind of. What's the name of that?
Dr. Doolittle.
Oh my God, that Dr. Doolittle just worked me because he was like he was on a certain scene. He liked the show so much, but when she was really having those personal relationships with her dad, he would leave the room. And I had to go out and find out, well, why do you always leave the room? You always want to watch the show, but then you leave the room at this point. And he wouldn't say nothing. Then I figured it out. He's wanting a relationship with his dad. And unfortunately, his dad was just not in the space to deliver on that or care to deliver it. Me and you guys, and women, that's a whole nother subject. I'm going to let Blair jump into hers, and because I'm on the hardcore, and I'm going to.
We don't really think about how it affects the children, and having that mindset. We have to sit back and allow ourselves to be vulnerable and understand the severity of the situation. That these boys pay attention to their mommies, and just as the girls pay attention to their daddies, they're looking for that void, and we have to feel that.
So I can say for me, my daughter is 7, and I've been a single parent as long as she's been born. Not to say that her father is not a part of her life, but he's not as involved as I think he should be. Then again, I can't tell him how to raise his daughter, as long as I do my part. But me and my husband were married. Right after my daughter turned 1, we separated. He wanted the streets, and I gave him the streets. I said, if that's what you want, you can have it. I packed up me and my daughter's stuff, and I left. And I've been a single parent ever since. And some days I love it, some days that I don't. Because honestly, some days I just need a break. Some days I'm tired between work and school and work, school, rapping, performing, dance class. Sometimes I'm tired, and some days he won't get her. Now I will say he's gotten better with getting her, but initially in the beginning it was not like that. I was a true single parent, and I did not enjoy it, but I always had a standard. So my standard was do not have kids out of wedlock. So I didn't have kids out of wedlock, but I never pictured being a single parent. I never pictured divorce. Divorce was never in my eyesight. It was never in my periphery. I'm like, we're gonna go through what we gotta go through. But when he decided he wanted the world, I just told him you can have it. And I've been a single parent ever since. Some days I don't like to complain about it because I feel like God gave me a special task when he gave me to when I was blessed with her. So I just do what I gotta do. But some days are harder than others. Some days are harder than others. But that's how I became a single parent. We were married, separated, and then I just been raising my daughter on my own.
And I think, like most women, we don't plan to be single
We do
mothers.
not.
We don't plan to go on this journey by ourselves. We don't plan on it. And then so when people say you're a single parent, or they look at you, or they have this stigma behind single parenting, they don't understand that a woman doesn't choose to.
Yeah, we don't choose to get. We don't wake up one day and just say, "Hey,
Right,
I'm a single. I want to be a single parent." No,
Right.
it just people sometimes they don't get along, or sometimes relationships don't work, and you got to go your separate ways. But that don't mean that we can't come together and co-parent. It just means one person is more balanced than the other one, and sometimes the moms are the more balanced one. That's the one that takes the child along with everything that comes with it. So yeah,
the total responsibility.
yes.
So I became a single mother. I'm not a single mother now, but prior to, I was a single mother for 8 years, and the 8 years was very difficult because I was going to school, I was working, and I was just trying to survive, and then also paying attention to me as a woman raising a boy. I knew it was really real when I would see other people with their children and how their little boys would take on the
The mom.
gestures of the mom. They would,
Mhm.
walk like the mom, talk like the
Oh
mom.
yeah, I wouldn't have that.
And I wasn't having that. I had to sit back and like, when I would go to the nail shop,
Mhm.
I wouldn't take my son with me. And if I
Mhm.
had to or I couldn't, I wouldn't go.
Mhm.
Hair appointments, I didn't want him to see that because
Mhm.
I knew how it would affect him.
Right.
And I was in school for behavior analysis. So
Mhm.
studying that and then actually living as a single mother, I kind of saw how my behavior was going to affect my son and
Mhm.
him growing up. And you can see it, in the world and we live in now,
Right.
how single parenting, not just with mom but with dads also,
Mhm.
how the children, when they solely dependent on one parent, that's
Right.
what they're going to.
So can I ask the question? How did y'all find that balance? Like, when did you get to that point where you found balance? Because I feel like that's what I struggle with a lot. Like, I'm still trying to find balance in between everything that I have to do.
I was lucky because even though it was me as a single parent, I had a big family.
Mm-hmm.
So like, I remember one incident where I had to, I was still getting my hair done like a lot before I had locks,
Mm-hmm.
and I was getting it all kind of, piece here, and just really beautifying my hair. And I had to go really early in the morning. And my sister she had the same passion that I had in terms of what Donovan was going to be exposed to. And so, but this lady, it was hard to get an appointment with her. So when I had to take it. But I had my son with me at that time.
Mm-hmm.
And she said, okay, take him and I'll be there to pick him up.
Mm-hmm.
So he was literally at the the hair salon for probably about 15, 30 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
So he didn't get a whiff of none of the conversation. She didn't even want him to have the girly girl conversation. You know how we do in the salons.
Right.
So she came and got him, and it's that at some point wanted to feel like beautiful, getting your hair done, your nails done, and all that kind of stuff. It really takes family that said, okay, you go do this, all this, and I'll have your son for you.
Mm-hmm.
She spent a lot of time with Donovan, and so I am grateful for that, and it just helped me to be the woman that I wanted to be.
Right.
Do the things I wanted to do. And dating was a challenge because I was very, very, at the same time, protective
Mm-hmm.
of my son.
Mm-hmm.
So if somebody showed sign that they were going to do, I was dating one guy. He was playing with my son. And they was having a good time playing. And he put Donovan outside instead of doing because Donovan was playing,
Mm-hmm.
and he thought that was playing. And to me, that was a sign. Like, okay,
You don't know how to play well.
yeah.
Right.
So, okay, I was at that point. I was having all kind of emotions because we were all just playing.
Mm-hmm.
And and Donovan, he said, "Okay, I'm ready to put you out and shut the door." And I became a whole nother woman at that time. I was another woman. I said, I didn't even know I had it in me.
Right.
But he said, "How did you just snap?" Because that was it.
When it comes to your children.
Oh, that was it. Because I seen a whole again. I was raised with a father that was abusive.
Mm-hmm.
So when I seen that sign, I was like, it ain't nothing. It's my house, my thing. When I had my son, I had my house. I had everything that I wanted and I needed. Me and his father was in a different space, so I put myself in a position that I was nice and loving, but I knew we were not going to make it. We were business partners, and I wanted the business and the relationship to go forward, and I knew it wasn't going to happen.
Right.
So I got everything I needed in terms of what was in my career and what his father could help me with. And so when that relationship actually dissolved, I had my house, I had a bedroom suite, I had everything we needed. In terms of going on with our lives without him.
Right.
But sometimes as women, we have to look at those signs. The signs are they're very much there. And our aunties and our mothers and our grandmothers, they do show us those signs or teach us those signs, or we see it through their experiences. And it's how do we internalize that and utilize that information? A lot of times we see what's happened in the past, but we don't know how to apply it to ourselves. And for me, I applied what they taught me, and when it was done, Donovan, the house I have, um, when he was born, the house that he came into is the same house I have today, 20 years later.
Right.
I said I wanted to be stable when I had my child.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted certain things, I don't want to be bouncing around, moving from house to house, as a child, because my mom had an abusive relationship. We were in different environments all the time. And I said, I didn't want that.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of rooted myself. This is it. And I played that role until I got what I needed. And when he left, I was, two tears in a bucket. You know what I'm saying? I was two tears in a bucket by the time he left.
So I like to answer your question from my end.
Mm-hmm.
I think with the single parenting, it takes a strong support system. When I was in school, I leaned heavily on my sister, my brother, my mom, my grandmothers, my auntie, uncle. I just leaned on my family,
Mm-hmm.
and I told them, how I felt as a parent. Like we said before, you don't go into wanting to be a single parent.
Right, right.
And I was determined to raise my son. You always want to strive better. Not saying that my childhood was bad, because it wasn't. My mom, she was a single parent up until I was in second grade,
Mm-hmm.
and just to witness her love for us and the sacrifices she made,
Mm-hmm.
I knew that I wanted to be I want my child to grow up in a 2-parent
Mm-hmm.
household. It just didn't work out for my son, father, and I.
Right.
And so the relationship that I am in now, I have that support system
Right.
in home.
Right.
What I wanted. But before, being a single mother, just really being vulnerable and
Right.
being open to your support system.
Right.
Being okay with asking for help. That's my problem. When I was a single mother, I would really feel bad about asking for help. Oh, I want to go to, have lunch with my friends, or I want to
Mhm.
go get my hair done.
Mhm.
I would only say, well, no, I won't ask unless I have to go to work or go to school. I would
Mhm.
only limit myself to help
Right.
during that time.
Right.
And I would feel bad if I had to outside of that.
And I had to learn that it's okay to ask for help.
Yeah, very much so. Very
Um,
much so.
and if I would give somebody single parenting tips, is one, we have to find balance in our life.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, you found balance when you got to that space where you can do something for yourself. Because sometimes we don't. We're so focused on our kids that we forget about us, and we're no good to them if we're not good to us. So we got to be good to us. Another parenting tip is paying attention to the signs. When you're trying to date and stuff, pay attention to the signs, because people throw out red flags. Especially with me, I have a girl. I'm super overprotective.
Right.
Anybody throw a red flag, deuces. I don't even give you a chance to give me another. I don't even.
It's another
Goodbye.
person in you. That
Stability. I like what you said about being stable, because sometimes single parents, we move around, but we have to understand we have to live within our means of what we have.
Right.
And yes, we want these lavish things, we want these big things, but if you cannot get them right now, it's okay. But your main focus is to make sure that we have a stable place for our children to come home to. Then I like what you said, having a support system.
Mm-hmm.
What do you say to the parents who don't have a good family support system? What do you say to those parents?
I would advise to create one.
Okay.
There are always people that come across your path that I've met, even when I was in school. With my oldest son, there was time when my family just couldn't watch them.
Mhm.
But I had people in my life that I was connected to at
Right.
work,
Right.
at school,
Right.
that was just understood my vision and what I wanted to do and how I wanted to raise my child.
Mhm.
And so as long as you are focused on your child, and God is going to have people cross paths with you that you're going to trust,
Yes.
that's going to offer. Sometimes
Yes.
you're not
You don't
even
have to ask. Right.
they're going to understand you as a single mother.
Right.
Hey, this is the resources I have. This is how I can
Right.
help you.
Right.
And take that burden off of you. I
Right.
experienced that
Right.
firsthand. There were people I had to take them to class with me sometimes,
Right.
and people, girls that I was close to in class that I didn't even know. I knew them, but I didn't,
Right.
really have that family
Bond.
connection.
Right,
That
right,
bond.
right, right.
But it took me to a different place when they, would see me bring him to class. Like, don't, stress yourself. You're
Right.
trying to work. You're trying to go to school.
Right.
You're trying to provide for him. It's
Right.
a lot by
Right.
yourself.
Right.
Let somebody help you.
Right.
And so, just create one.
Yeah, I like that. I like that.
That's what I would say.
I love
create
that.
the support system if you don't have
The
that
family. Right,
Yeah.
right, right. I love that.
But
That's-
there's still nice people in the world.
It really is. It really is.
That's a very powerful question, because we're in a time where you can't even trust everybody.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And when you want to create that, it's always, God, do I have to hire a private investigator before I can just trust my church family?
Mm-hmm.
So it's so hard without a family. That's why we have to drive on. We need families to be cohesive to be together,
Mhm.
because there are these challenges that present itself when you can't trust everybody. But if there was somebody, at some time, create a sisterhood. Get
Mhm.
involved in an organization that you have a kinship with, that you can create a kinship with, like the church, similar to what you're saying. That family, that church. If you don't have family, that church. Be a part of a church. I know when I actually got pregnant, this is crazy, but it is what it is. It is what it is. But I was actually in the choir. Okay, so there's dynamics going on in the choir. You all have your own personal things, and fornication probably is part of it. But anyway, I know, right? Right, but it kind of is what it is. Like, how many women are in the choir that's pregnant? A lot of us. But that's crazy. But those same women were the ones that was gonna what you need.
Right.
They were so
Supportive.
freaking understanding and supportive.
Yes.
Especially ones that were in the choir and married and didn't have children.
Mm-hmm.
And here I am, not married and have a child. But okay, well, yeah, that part. But that's why I say, if you do not have a church, find that one, and if you are a mother, make sure your children have that. Right. So as they grow, in case they become into these situations. So we have to plan, if we're mothers in these situations, we have to plan for the next generation, making sure we have that sisterhood. I am, a member of Delta Sigma Theta. So I have a sisterhood too at that. And they were like, okay, what you need now? So, but unfortunately, I had a very strong family. I had all these avenues, but I did not have my son's father family. They were just so supportive. I can't even believe it, but they were in the church, very self-righteous. But you can support, that. And so if you're the paternal father and the family, sometimes even if the paternal father is not functional, maybe his family is functional. I didn't have either of that. I didn't have a functional paternal family or the father. Even though we were in business together, it was just, everything just went like real. It became a real bad situation.
Shout out to my ex-mother-in-law, Miss Tammy McIntyre. When I say she picks my baby up on the weekends,
there it is.
School clothes, Christmas, like, she's been very, very supportive. Even though her son has not been there as much as he should. Like, and I even told her when me and him separated, I created a relationship with you outside of me and his relationship, because if we ever separated, I didn't want that to stop you from being a grandparent.
I know that's right.
Man, when I say the best, I'm so happy about that. So I hate that you didn't get to experience that, because that's all I experienced is my daughter's grandmother and her papa being there for her, even though her dad is not as active as he should be. Don't miss it. Don't miss a program. Don't miss a graduation. Don't miss events. Don't miss anything. So yeah, I felt that, and I've experienced the good side of that. So yeah.
And then a lot of women who don't have that, my suggestion to them is to really find that sisterhood, that organization, that people. There are women that want children but can't have children. There are people that work with children on a daily basis that understand the importance of single parenting, or the resource that a single mother needs. There's an organization on Facebook called DFW Black Moms Walking Club.
Oh, okay.
And I have a friend who's in that group. I met her on there, and even though she's married, her and her husband have 2 children. even then, it's still hard for a mother, raising kids, and she has a girl and a boy. But she still looks to the group
Right.
for support
Right.
because all it is just her and her husband. She don't have family here,
Right.
so she looks to the group for support. So any mother that doesn't have any family to lean on or to they can support them. There are people that are out there that's going to help.
Or start your own support group.
Yeah. Yes.
Start if you don't have anybody or you don't know anybody, start your own support group.
Yeah, because it's really needed.
I'm telling it's so needed. All you gotta do is put it out there. It's so needed. And a lot of people don't realize that maybe if it's not one in your area, then maybe it's meant for you to start it and build it up from there.
Right.
So yeah, I love that. I love that.
Because there's people that in their group that do homeschool. They don't like the school system, and they connect with other kids. Like that would be a goal of mine to homeschool my child, but also to be able to learn social skills from like-minded parents or mothers who are on the same journey and mindset with raising these kids.
Right.
As far as paying attention to you raising a girl, as far as you paying attention to you raising a boy, you cannot raise them the same.
Right.
And I think that's something that we don't often talk about either.
I want to piggyback, off of what you said, because I tend to be. I would have liked his family support, but my family is so big, so that I almost. This is the selfish part of me too, but my son, because I have my paternal lineage and his brothers and sisters, even though my father is, he's a vet, and so he has a lot of issues. And then I have my mother, and then my mother's maternal lineage and my mother's paternal lineage. So that's a lot of family. And we are on both sides, we're such a close-knit family that I almost felt like I would be exhausted trying to massage that other relationship. But I think it is so, don't get me wrong, it is so important that he has his own lineage. And even though that's really all my paternal lineage and all its different splits and all its different beauty, that young man still needs that paternal lineage with your daughter having. That's just giving him all of that.
Right.
And all the generation and him being, can date back many, many generations.
So what do you say if they can't do that?
That's why that paternal lineage that she has is so. I want to shine a light. That's still so crucial.
Yes.
Yeah. And if you don't have that and you don't have all this other stuff in your family, you probably have to build it. But again, we have to get to the point, because these are realities. We have to, as parents, strengthen that. So if our child goes through that for whatever reason, it's something that's in place for them. So we might not be able to do it now, or you might not be able to do it now, but we have to build that strong family network. Sometimes it starts with you.
Right.
And when it starts with you, and what if the other side is just not cooperative? There's just a disconnect.
Oh, that's mine. It was just totally disconnecting.
So how did you?
It's still broken. It's still broken. I'm a person that took, forgiveness class at church several times, and I still resort to thank God for those that can't forgive, because I'm not the most forgiving person. I'm still not the most forgiving. I got that from Gabrielle Union too. I did an event with Gabrielle Union, and she was very transparent about her rape. And somebody asked her about forgiveness. Can you forgive? She said, and they talked about the biblical sense for forgiving. And she was very witty with it. She said, thank God for those who can't forgive. I appreciate that, what God has given those people. Wow. And thank God for those that can forgive. I don't forgive those people. That's just where I'm at. And I go on with my life. I'm still at peace.
What do you tell Donovan when he's looking for that? Because as kids we get older and you start searching for that other connection, your other family.
Yeah, and it is a search, and it's very hard for them to come up to that reality, and it's still a work in progress. It still hurts him that he sees how important lineage is because we just had a family reunion dealing with lineage, and I regurgitated my lineage from the enslavement all the way to date, and knowing that he's the 11th generation. So that's deep for him.
Right.
And but he can't do that on his paternal side because there's so much. As deeply religious they don't still know understand the biblical principles, and that's a tragedy. You become very self-righteous, and there's problems in that. And everybody say karma this, karma that. That's good, but I think it's something deeper that is more unfortunate that can happen when you don't build family and understand the importance of family. And family is written in the biblical sense, and you're so holy that you don't even, you're unholy.
Right.
You don't even
date back or even teach that.
Right.
I would like to answer that question because I did not meet my dad until I was 35, 38. It's like 2-3 years ago.
Wow.
But what changed for me was I prayed about it. So when I was 12, my mom did a DNA test with the guy she was with and found out that I was not his. So I started to pray. And at 12, that's like a big major thing for a girl.
Transition.
Yeah, and I found out at 12 that my dad is not my dad. Ooh. And then I'm asking my mom who is my dad. And the only thing she can give me is the first name and not the last name. So I prayed about it. So from 12 to mid 30. I prayed, God, I just want to meet my dad. I want to meet my dad. I want to meet my dad. Then after I hit 30, I was like, I don't think it's going to happen, but let me change my prayer anywhere. My exact prayer was, God, if it's meant for me to meet my daddy, you're going to bring him right to my doorstep. Moved back to Fort Worth when me and my husband separated in 2019. And then when I turned 35, my mom introduced me to my dad. Wow. I went and she asked me to come over to her house to do something. I walked through the door and she just said, this is your dad. I was like, the one that you've been telling me about, my real dad? I was like, I need a moment because this can't be real. Nah, it's real. And I was able to walk my dad through my doorstep. But then on the flip side of that, my mom had to find it in her heart to forgive and do whatever she needed to do because while I'm praying about it, God is working on her. For her to change it. And I met my dad. I built a relationship with him. I told him, look, I don't care about you not being here because I've graduated high school. I didn't have no kids. I didn't get married, didn't have kids. I was 30. So I'm not, I had a good life. But I want to build an adult daughter-daddy relationship with you. And we did. Now, I have not heard from my dad in 2 years, but honestly, I'm really at peace now. Because I met him. Right. We had a bond. He told me his side of the story and some of the stuff that my mom was telling me that now he's telling me it lined up. It makes sense. So now I don't have to wonder about my other side. Now I know. And as far as my daughter, as far as me and my daughter's dad, we got to a good co-parenting space. Because I'm not going to lie, after I divorced and we separated, every time I got mad, I called him and I cussed him out because I was so angry. Like, why don't you want to be a part of this? Why is it that I have to do this by myself? I didn't sign up for this. I didn't want this. I didn't sign up for it. I had a standard and I kept my standard and we were supposed to get through what we get through. But now, and I prayed about that relationship. When I say in deep prayer, I prayed. I didn't know what else to do but pray about it. And eventually, he started to come around. Eventually, he started to do better. But I just stopped. I had to get to the point to stop nitpicking. Okay, he didn't get it this weekend. Okay, that's okay. Once he started getting consistent, I was like, okay. So yeah, but I just wanted to answer that because I can speak to that from both sides. So like I said, I didn't meet my dad until I was 35, and my mom was a single parent, and I didn't. Watching her be a single parent, that was the reason why I didn't want to be a single parent because I knew how hard it was, stressful. My mom had 4 of us. So it was 4 of us in the picture. So it was hard, but I didn't want that. But I just wanted to answer that because eventually, once children get older, they will get to see who they for themselves. So I never talked bad about her dad. I never said anything out of the ordinary. I always tried to put him up in a good light. But then I also am getting to the point where I have to speak my truth about the situation.
Right.
I have to take my accountability on what I allowed and what I didn't allow in the situation. So yeah, that's why I just wanted to answer.
No, that is good because that's good. That's good for to relay that back to Donovan. You know, pray about it. You know, we can do what we can do, and I know he does want. It's sad what has the turn of events with him, and I'm not gonna really speak his business and his interaction with him recently because it still has not been good. And as a mother, like you said, he's seeing this for himself, and he's already seen it just for us being in business and being in business as many years as we had, and our name is everywhere. You could type in my name, and you could find him. If you could find me, you're gonna find my son. It's that simple. So his family had every opportunity because we're public. We have done some of the most amazing events across Dallas Fort Worth. So Donya Craddock, okay, there she is right there. So Donovan, even I said, type in our name, and everything pops up. And so for 16 years, it's always been open for Tony to come in and see Donovan. It has always been an open space for him. Whether you chose to walk through it, that's
on you.
Right.
Yeah, but I've given you. The door's open. We can sit down and have a conversation. Or now, I'm probably sure he's up. I don't have to talk to you. You can go talk directly to him. But if he chooses not to, then yeah, that's tough too.
I raised him in Craddock, the Craddock last name. And, he's carrying my grandfather's last name, which all of that to me is beautiful. It's a foundation. He's Craddock. He's Donovan Craddock, And so I had to say I enjoy that aspect. That's probably the selfish part of me. That was I supposed to change it? Yes, I was supposed to change the last name. Did I do it? No, I didn't do it.
I like that you say that you are very prayerful. I would like to say to chime in on that. For a long time, I was angry.
Yes.
Before I was able to start praying, and I want to say to people, to women, if you are experiencing hurt and you are angry, you have to really get past the hurt and the pain, so that you can really understand what you need.
Because the bigger picture, is our children.
Right. And before we go on to another question, I want to ask anybody in the audience: do you want to have a question or want to chime in on the conversation about single parenting, or how it has affected you, or how you are living as a single parent?
Don't all speak at once.
Okay.
Well, I'm married. I've been married 8 years, but I'm living a single parent, because he wouldn't help physically or want to halfway work, and I have the child that I have by him is 9 years old, and I feel that he should be doing more for him than me doing it, because I work multiple jobs, so therefore he thinks he's not supposed to take care of him or whatever, or do whatever, instead of us being 50-50, we're not 50-50. So I feel that he should be able to help me more. So I moved him out and sent him back to his mom's house, since he don't know how to be a married man and take care of family, since he's supposed to be a head of the household. I'm not supposed to be head of the household. He's supposed to be the man, and I'm supposed to be the woman. So,
did he grow up in a single parent household?
No, I don't. Well, by me asking my mother-in-law, they had a lot of problems, like physical, I guess, or like he has other siblings by another woman, where his dad did before he passed away, and I never really met him. But when I got married into the family, nobody told me none of that stuff. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't be married now. But I'm like, it's hard being a single parent, because some people accept being single because they get tired of asking people to help them, and they don't want to argue about it and just go ahead and put all of the stuff on their own hands, when they shouldn't have to do none of that, because everybody should be able to help one
Right.
And that's my perspective.
Can I say this to you? Change your posture and pray about it. Whatever you want or whatever you need from your husband, change your posture. That means you got to go into your prayer closet and you got to pray something. You got to pray prayerfully, and God will move on your husband. He'll move on him, but you change your posture and watch how you go in your prayer closet and you change your posture and watch how God lifts him up. God is going to lift him up, but you change your posture. Even if he's not, and I know it's hurtful because you want him to help, but he's not in that space right now. But I would say change your posture and pray about it. And watch how God shifts the atmosphere in your home because you're not complaining, but instead you're giving it all to him. Even though you didn't know he was like that, now that you're in it, you have to pray for him and pray over him. Because you have to understand, once we pray, it shifts the atmosphere. That's why I'm so heavy on my prayer life. I do not play about my prayer life. I promise you, if you pray, I mean, get in that closet and pray. That means you gotta lay out in the floor, frustrated, pray about it every day, and watch how God begins to move on your husband because you're praying to him about what you need from your husband. I promise you.
And I like that you said that because a lot of times that when we're in situations, especially as a single parent, and you don't have a support system and you don't want to ask for help, who better to ask for help? Go on your knees and pray.
And he gonna send.
To get to that, you have to
He gonna
get
send you
past
the
the
help
anger.
that you. Yeah, he gonna send you the help that you need. And tell your husband until he works on him, he's gonna send you the help that you need for your son.
And like I just turned 50 in May, and next month he'll be 58. So I would think that by him being older, that he has more wisdom than I do. But I don't think it's that way though.
And I want to just step in and just say, at some point, you're in a tough situation because that's another aspect of single parenting. When you're a single parent in a married household, that is so challenging because now there's the butterfly effect here. If I do this, this is the result because you don't know what vein or energy he's going to operate out of. If I do that, that's the result. You send him back, but you don't know if that situation of him being that type of a father to being a domestic issue. Those are fine lines right there. And so prayer is very intimate and important. But what he has done, the trail that he has led, especially, I'm in my 50s too. At 58, you know what? I'm not going to waste anything on you. I'm not. It's his mom and them gonna have y'all pray this up out of here, okay? Because my prayer is to pray him up out of here as a father. I'm just gonna them results happen. And the other one is anybody else, y'all can do that because I could guarantee you at 50, I'm not gonna be doing this foolishness that I did in my 20s and 30s. It's just not going to happen. It's too much of the world left to see. And I'm not going to be seeing it out of the lenses of depression. I'm not just not going to do that. Right. Again, I 2 tears in a bucket. I'm done with it. I don't even fool around with, and I'm happy.
I want to say something to. You mentioned some emotions, some words of in regards to emotions. How, as a woman, as a single mother raising a single mother raising a boy, and our emotions, how we are wired. How do you raise your son and still be mindful when you're in those moments?
You know what?
As women, when you have those sad moments, you crying or you just upset, and not allowing your son to see that, but also wanting him to see that because he needs to see it from a woman. But how they?
That's a good question.
Like when I was a single mother and my oldest son, when I would be sad and I would cry, he would do the same. Like he would mimic me crying, and I would, like he's really paying attention. I wanted him to see it, but I didn't want him to see it because I didn't want him to think that was the way you behave to all situations or when things.
I would say
because they're wired differently.
Yeah, I would say And I wanted to back this up a minute ago in the conversation because, like you and your daughter, how you see your daughter, and you can see certain. When I see your daughter, I see some of you in her, right?
Right.
And I see some of how she moves, how she walk, how she stand. It's
Mhm.
that very feminine energy.
Mhm.
Even when she do the drums, it's still that it's your rhythms that are coming out through her, and she's a girl. Now I had to look at, okay, my son got my rhythms in the womb because I was buying a house at the same time, and so and it was just so much, dealing with credit, dealing with creditors, and because I was determined, if I'm not gonna have the husband, and I said that if I'm not gonna have the husband, I'm gonna damn sure have my house.
Right.
And so it was just that constant fight, of I'm gonna get this, you can't tell me no, and okay, I didn't get that house, or I didn't get approved of that house, and Arlington at the time, I was buying a house in 2000. They were still redlining when we don't want you in this community, and all this kind of stuff that was going on. And it's supposed to be things is unsaid, but as you can see, it was very much a part of that community. So even in the womb, he understood, life. When I come out into this world, it's going to be something. And they couldn't even get him to come out. That's how I had to have a
affected by it.
I had a C-section. He was fighting them because he wasn't going. He was comfortable. I probably had a lot of dramatic and energy in there because he was just comfortable right in my stomach. They say he was. No, I ain't coming out in this world.
They had to take him out.
Yeah, they had to pull him out, and it's just. And back to it, he has always seen me, going after things that we want, and not the sensitive side of me. I don't even think we've ever had the capacity for him to see that, because at an early age we had opened up the bookstore, and so he was about what, I don't know, 8, 7 when so we were always working, so we didn't really have a capacity to get into this emotional state. It was like, okay, didn't have his dad, and okay, we got this event coming up, we got that event, we got trying to keep the store open, we got to be out here. We was always in motion, in movement, and I think, and that kind of crippled him because we was always in motion and in movement. That he was like, when it was time for him to sit back, he'd be like, dang, I want to do some of this. I want my dad at my basketball game, even though it was the Alpha Phi Alpha FIA who. Those men came to his basketball games, and I surrounded him with all these strong men, so many strong men, because we had access to so many men. And, my brothers keep a community front line, the RBGs, when they were doing their thing at the time, the Uhuru Academy, all these different groups my son was exposed to. But at the end of the day, like, when it's dark and we're at home, and the day is done, it's always that space right there about my daddy. Whether it's his showing, in his action, or him mentally internalizing, it was always about that. So dads are so important.
Very much so.
And
Very much so, yeah.
we need to start calling out. We have to figure out ways to stop this deadbeat dad mentality. Where is it? Why do we stop? Who stops it? Is it the family that is accountable for this deadbeat mentality? How is my son very functional, very smart, very intelligent, but how is he allowed to just be a deadbeat dad and hide all this relationship, and the family is okay, some girlfriends are okay? How are y'all okay with this and don't nobody say nothing or call it out?
Right.
But Danya, why is she always, what? Calling it out, sticking him. Yes, I stuck him. We had a domestic agreement with child support. But he didn't abide by the domestic agreement because, I'm not the one that's going to just take you to the attorney general. Because I understood that was hurting for Black men. So now I have and Tarrant County allows you to have a domestic agreement. But some of y'all can't even handle that domestic agreement or abide by the domestic agreement. So we had to get Uncle General involved, right? Or whatever we call him, Yeah, we had to get the uncle involved for whatever reason. Not that we wanted to do that, but come on now.
Right.
That's the last, and then you don't even pay attention to Uncle General. So what? The post office, we had to get the attorney general to help hold these men accountable, or if nothing else, be the one that mediates the relationship between the son and the father, because it has to be there.
I stopped mediating the relationship.
Yeah, I don't want to
I
mediate.
completely took my hands off of
I
it.
don't want to be there. That's why I said somebody else got to mediate, because it's not going to happen with Danya going. I can guarantee you. I can almost 100% guarantee you that I'm going to say something.
Mhm.
I already know I'm going to say something. So I had to take Danya out of it because
Right.
I have enough memory.
Right.
I have too much memory.
Right.
And, and I heard this conversation. Bishop Jake did this a while ago. You got to forgive. But you got to remember at the same time.
Mhm.
So when you forgive, you still got that memory. You have to
Mhm.
remember all the stuff that he's done did. He
Mhm.
did a lot of stuff. And I remember the things and some of that stuff is unforgivable.
Okay. And one more thing before we wrap up. You said we got to get rid about the deadbeat dad. We also have to get rid of the independent women thing, because we can't always do it by ourselves.
Yes, it's
You can be
okay
independent
to
as
ask for
all
help.
you want to be, but at the end of the day, you need somebody,
Mhm.
that support system.
Yes.
It literally takes a village for these kids.
Yes.
You have to have some type. If you're not okay, then your child's not going to be okay.
Exactly.
And you can't be okay 24/7 running here, there, and then having a child on top of that,
Mhm.
and the activities that they want to participate in, they want to do.
Mhm.
So you really, have to have that support system and
Well,
be
and it's
okay with that, and that independent.
that
I think that
financial
hurts.
support system.
That hurts people. You can be as independent as you want,
Mhm.
have all the money,
Right.
and doing it by yourself, but it really, what justice are you doing the child by living like that?
One thing I want to leave with this. One thing that changed for me was when I went and got therapy. It changed because I was like, my daughter don't deserve a depressed mommy. She don't deserve mommy filled with anxiety. She don't deserve that. She did not ask to be here. So I owe it not only to her, but I owe it to myself to admit this situation traumatized me. But I know that I can overcome that. And so when I went to therapy, then I began to look at the situation between me and her dad different. And I just said, I'm going to do the best that I can do. And if he decides to come around, good. But if he don't, then now I have the tools that I need, the support system, being stable, therapy, all that changed for me. Yeah. So yeah, yeah, yeah. And I can smile about it now because
Because it's a
7 years
rewarding
ago
feeling.
I was not like this. 7 years ago I wanted to choke out him and every other man and I just want to choke everybody. But therapy and getting to therapy really, really changed my outlook on a lot of things.
And thank you for saying that, because
Yes,
a lot
ma'am.
of time we don't always think that. I used to look down upon therapy because I'm like, I'm in school, I can be, counseling, I can be helping people, and it's like, no, you really need to sit back. You need help yourself.
You need help yourself.
'Cause you're not gonna be well enough for your son if you have that mentality. And so I appreciate you, saying that, because we want to get away from the negative stigma behind therapy,
yes.
behind needing help, behind the whole single parenting. It takes a village. You
Yes,
cannot
it
do it by
does.
yourself.
You can't.
You just got to get past the hurt and the anger, forgiveness, and pray about it.
Right.
And then, Coach, I wanted to say it's always an ongoing test.
For sure.
You can have balance today, and tomorrow it'll be something like, I didn't see this shit coming. Like, and then you have to. Is this gonna bring out the other Danya that exists and is not too far away? And that person will, as long as you have a son, that person will always be there, because we live in a system that is constantly attacking Black men in some shape or form. So that other person, that alter person, will always live with you because of this system, and because your son is out there in that world, and you don't sleep at night, you don't rest during the day, it's constant. So that person, you can never escape that person, and I haven't had therapy. My therapy, I've been hiking and all that. I had to get one with nature, because I know that person has always got to coexist. Those two people, because I understand what I'm dealing with my son, and what I'm dealing with, in terms of his father and his dynamics, and most recently he's done things that is like I had to really go into prayer. Like, Danya, you didn't see this like Danya. like I don't even know how to, and that probably you probably have to do a part 2 when I'm ready to talk about the constant disappointment that presents itself. And I don't know if it's so heavy, I don't even know if I could jump off into it. But if I had to say it all again, I don't know how I would handle this. It's just very challenging. I don't know if I would do anything differently. I've exposed him to so much. And, for God's sake, Donovan, you're hugging on Pam Grier. I can see it right here. They were tugging on each other. And so, like, those are the type of things that you've experienced. And I had to sometimes put that in the forefront of him. Like, I know it's hurting, but you've had so many experiences in life that a lot of young people have not had. I mean, you're sitting up here with some people that other people watch on TV, where you're in a picture with LL Cool J hugging you in a Barack Obama T-shirt. You know what I'm saying? Those are things that a lot of people don't experience. That, and given all his experiences, he still missed the most important thing, and that is his relationship with his father. And unfortunately, I can give him everything else, but I could not and achieve that. But at some point, Donovan said, "Mom, you've done what you can do. I have to take this on." And so, because I even said, you know what, I will roll up. I'm going to roll up with you on this situation. I said, "Mom, I can't have you." No, that's just okay. I'll do this one pro bono. Okay, okay, no, Mom, not okay. Maybe I'll do the first part and you do the second part. So, but it's that hard. It's that mama bear. Even though, like, I understand this person, right? This person that he's showing you this side, but I know some keywords and tricky phrases. A lot has not changed.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you sharing that. Thank you all for tuning in. Thank you for our live audience. Thank you, Facebook, our YouTube audience. Thank you very much for tuning in to Sister Sunday Single Parenting.
Bye.
The second one.